Good afternoon, everybody. One more time. Good afternoon. Thank you. Welcome to the second Main Street Entrepreneur Seed Fund Demo Day. That was a mouthful. No, it's so great to see everybody here in person, finally after so many months. And thank you for your support and being here today. I'm MK, one of the entrepreneurs in residence for the Main Street program, along with Jimmy and Motan. I want to go back just a little bit. On February 27th, 2020, we were all here celebrating 20 entrepreneurs and their businesses. Some of them are actually here with us today. It was such an exciting time. We were so excited to see these entrepreneurs share their stories. And we were getting ready for the next cohort or the next steps. And then COVID hit, and we know what happened. 2 weeks later, we were all shut down. Well, 20 months later, to date, we are all here again, and we are so excited to bring you more stories from more diverse entrepreneurs. And when I say diverse entrepreneurs, I'm not just talking about diversity in terms of entrepreneurs and their individuals, but their ideas and businesses. Because that is the essence of Main Street. We support everything from the corner cafe all the way up to global payments and everything in between, and femtech and esports and even desserts. I think I should stop before I get off myself there. Jimmy?
Can we just give everyone that's in this building a round of applause just for being together? Yeah, it's amazing what COVID has done for all of us. We appreciate just seeing your faces and being here today. I have the privilege of introducing your president, President M. Brian Blake. Dr. M. Brian Blake is the president of Georgia State University and has been appointed to the position in June 2011. Prior to joining Georgia State, he was the executive vice president for academic affairs and provost at Georgia Washington University. As the highest ranking academic officer, he oversaw academic programs across the 10 schools and colleges, 3 campuses, and 28,000 students. We are honored to have you here today. I introduce to you your president.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's just my pleasure to join you here today and to thank you all for coming out and thank all our participants for actually presenting what seemed to be just an amazing set of projects and innovative ideas. I know I walked around today and just what Main Street mentioned, the combination. It's like, I think I've said this many times, if you bring in students and smart scholars from all these different walks of life and background, and you put them in to a high-tech or a very innovative instructional environment, and you get these ideas that you've kind of never considered or never conceived. I was in the other room just now, and I was thinking about, there's actually, I'm going to put Regis, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, on the spot. She is Karaoke Noir, and I think about how poorly I sing and how much I have to look for a song that just matches for me and something that I know very well. And that's just, it's just kind of bringing in these ideas that affect all walks of life makes sense, and to kind of see the types of things that are being pitched to actually help our community, particularly making some of the work we do in industry even more diverse. So I thought that was just amazing. So I just passed my 65th day as president. So I've been here a couple of months. I was delighted to send out our first 100-day website last week. And in that, I wanted to fly through and float through some of the ideas that I think I've heard from the community since I arrived. So I think this event today aligns with all of those ideas, which was great. And I'll take this opportunity to give a brief commercial and try to tell you why I think that's the case. First one's research and innovation. We are known at Georgia State for that, particularly our data analytics and how we apply that to student success. So when you look at the projects here today, you see a lot of innovative approaches to actually making students more successful. So I thought that was a great connection, and I'm so delighted for what the students came up with. The second is student success, and obviously, in most times we talk about how we matriculate students and make sure they're placed, but it's even great to kind of see that the types of things they learn in the classroom and the things they do in real life actually align with the innovation that you see within them. So I think student success is graduating for sure, but is also making sure we enrich our students and our population. The third is college to careers. They're creating new industries. So, and we see that here. Each of the students I spoke to today, I asked, okay, what does it take to run that? And where would you do it? And I see the gentleman that did the composting, and he said, basically for composting, it's got to be within 100 miles of the city, and because that's what makes it most effective. And, kind of thinking about these real world aspects, and then creating those industries, not just in the city, but he's creating opportunities away from the city, maybe south of the city. So I thought that was really, really cool. And then the last piece of thing that we did as a pillar for the institution is placemaking. So I would love to see storefronts for all of these things on campus, if possible, or on our campuses. So seeing that occur and thinking about how these young leaders are going to reinvent our city, our state, our nation is just so inspiring for, an old person like myself to kind of see that. So let me stop there and say thank you for all you've done today. I look forward to meeting more of our participants. I wish all of them the best of luck. And again, I want to thank Main Street for this and the fund and all that it's done for the institution. So thank you and have a wonderful day.
Next up, I have the privilege of introducing the one that runs the ship. Jennifer Shearer is the director of the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute here at Georgia State University. Jennifer's entire professional career has been dedicated to just this, driving innovation and supporting entrepreneurs. Prior to joining Georgia State, Jennifer was the Vice President of Innovation and Entrepreneurship at the Metro Atlanta Chamber. There she led numerous initiatives to promote collaboration in the innovation community, support high-growth entrepreneurs, and elevate Atlanta's status to what it is today, a global innovation hub. I have the privilege of introducing my buddy, Jennifer Shearer.
Thank you, Jameen, for that very kind introduction. And thank you, President Blake, for being here and helping raise the excitement in the room. I think you can tell from all of us that we're really excited to be back here. It feels good to be back. As MK pointed out, it was I guess, 20 months ago to the date that we did our first demo day. And we did what everybody else had to do. We figured out how to run the program in a virtual world, but it sure is nice to be bringing you demo day today live for sure. So 6 months ago, we selected 13 companies into Cohort 2 of the Main Street Entrepreneur Seed Fund. That was from nearly 130 applicants, so it was a tough job to narrow it down to 13. But this cohort is made up of Georgia State students, alumni, and community members that are involved with Georgia State's entrepreneurship development programs in some way, shape, or form. And interestingly enough, they represent 5 colleges and 10 unique disciplines or majors at Georgia State, reflecting that creative ideas and good business opportunities can come from anywhere across campus and anywhere generally. Built on the hallmarks of intentional and customized mentoring and programming, the Main Street founders have participated in educational workshops, intense one-on-one mentoring sessions with our entrepreneurs in residence, MK and Jameen. They've changed their business models. We know a lot of businesses that had to change their business models due to the pandemic or due to what they might learn in a program like Main Street. Some of them were forced to close their doors during the pandemic, and they've since reopened them. Some of them unveiled another first season of an HBCU esports league. You'll hear more about that later. They've acquired new customers, and some have even completed their degrees at Georgia State University while they were in the Main Street program. So they've made significant progress. They've met milestones. They've met key performance indicators that they're required to meet in order to receive all of their funding that they earn in the Main Street program. And they've certainly grown as companies, founders, and individuals. So we're proud to have them here today. We're also very proud to share that the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute and the Main Street program has been recognized by 3 different organizations, international organizations, for our work in supporting underrepresented entrepreneurs and for excellence in inclusive entrepreneurship education. So this is now an award-winning program 4 times over, so we're very proud of that. And you'll hear today it truly does take a village. So there are a lot of people involved in executing on this program and supporting these founders. So I want to say thank you to many, and you'll hear me say it multiple times throughout the day, but certainly we have these types of programs take funding to run, and so we were fortunate this year to have support from the Georgia Power Company, as well as one of our alum, Matt Bozer, who's a retired executive at Coca-Cola, supported this program, as well as Georgia State University, many volunteers, and certainly we couldn't do this without the infrastructure that exists at Georgia State University to support entrepreneurs and innovators. So that because of all of that, we're here today to allow you to hear from 13 incredible companies and founders and tell you about their businesses. You'll see businesses that are making our local communities better places, ones that will make the world a better place. You'll see ones that add diversity in the workplace and in entire industries, and ones that ensure workers have the necessary skills to stay employed. The pipeline is strong and growing for programs like Main Street that provide critical support for Georgia State entrepreneurs. And it's also strong for those of you who are investing in companies or looking to partner with new and innovative companies. And for all of us it's also good for all of us who know it takes innovative minds and motivated entrepreneurs to address some of the world's biggest problems. So since 2015, Georgia State has launched 4 entrepreneurial-themed majors and a minor, and we've seen rapid growth in these programs. We now have more than 1,200 undergraduate students enrolled in these degree programs. So that's 1,200 aspiring entrepreneurs that will graduate from Georgia State University over the next 4 years, and we're still growing. And those are just the ones that are pursuing an entrepreneurship-themed degree. Remember, I told you earlier that Main Street founders that come from 5 different colleges or schools at Georgia State and 10 different majors or disciplines. So they're not all entrepreneurship majors. They're coming from everywhere across campus. Our curricular and non-curricular programs are university-wide and they're interdisciplinary. So we bring together colleges like the Robinson College of Business, the Andrew Young School of Policy Studies, the College of Arts and Sciences, and different institutes across campus like the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute, like the Institute for Biomedical Sciences, and like the Creative Media Industries Institute to offer degrees and programs that educate students and create experiences at the intersections of industries, disciplines, and passions. Launch GSU, our on-campus incubator for student-led businesses, has 200 active members from departments and schools all across campus. And you'll hear from some of those Launch GSU members today, our on-campus business incubator. Our entrepreneurs also have access to an on-campus small business development center at Georgia State. They have access to new venture competitions and benefit from Georgia State's central location in Atlanta's thriving ecosystem for entrepreneurs. And in fact, 2 of our companies from our Cohort 1, so the first round of the Main Street program, were selected as finalists last week in Atlanta in the Atlanta Startup Battle, which is a region-wide startup battle that awards $100,000 in funding to the top winner. So we had 2 out of 8 finalists that had participated in the Main Street program. So we're very proud of that. So thank you once again for being here. We're extremely proud of our founders who have participated in the Main Street program this year, and I know you'll enjoy hearing from them and getting to know them today as much as we have. Thanks.
All right, we are getting there. All right, So at this time, I have some housekeeping things I want to go over. Grab your cell phone, turn your ringer off. I'm usually that one, so I had to turn mine off earlier. Make sure your cell phones are turned off. And if you must leave the room, please do so between the pitches. We are recording and we are live streaming. All right? All right, now for the reason we are here. $22,000 on the line. That's a nice down payment on a house. So, and also will make a really nice technology as well. So, a lot on the line here, a lot of good energy in the rooms. All right, here we go. We're going to introduce the judges. First up, we have Paul and Daniela Salamanca, founded Preferred Roofing Supply in 2013 upon their graduation from Georgia State University. Over the past 8 years, they built Preferred Roofing Supply into a multi-million-dollar company that now competes with nationwide companies. Right? Catherine O'Day is a partner of Atlanta Ventures, where she empowers entrepreneurs to learn, build, and grow. She has been scaling Atlanta tech companies for over a decade, including one that she was the number 9 employee at Pardot and as COO at Rigor. Catherine O'Day, thank you for being here. And Joshua Tatum. For over 15 years, he has been a noteworthy executive in the consumer finance space. Joshua takes a vision and makes it into reality through sound strategy development. A non-negotiable, gotta have strategy. You may know him from his work as the head of product of Guaranteed Rate or senior director of SoFi, but can also be credited for contributions in the sports technology space and consumer data technology arena. Thank you for being here. Shyla Burney. As founder and managing partner of Zane Venture Fund, Shyla leads with the experience, empathy, and energy to inspire both from first-time founders and seasoned investors alike. With decades of experience at the forefront of organizations, championing the human rights of people of color, Shyla has seen firsthand the cracks in our system, where underrepresented founders often get overlooked. Thank you for your service to us, Shyla Burney. And last but not least, Kay Joyner. As a proud Georgia native, the highlight of Kay Joyner's career has been founding, growing, and advising on more than a dozen different businesses in his home state. 1 year after earning a BBA in marketing from the University of Georgia in 2001, Kay Joyner founded ShredX Secure Document Destruction, which is now the largest independent shredding company in the Southeast. Thank you for being here. Give them all a round of applause. That's a good panel right there. Thank you, all of the judges, for being here. All right, everybody take a deep breath. And this is the moment that we've been waiting for. Are you ready? Here we go. MK, all yours, brother.
Are we ready? Okay. The first up is going to be Ryan Johnson from Community to talk about esports, something I know very little of. Ryan.
Cool. Good afternoon, everyone. As MK mentioned, my name is Ryan Johnson, the founder and CEO of Community. Community is the leading esports career and competitive media platform in North America for students of color. One of the largest problems that we recognized about 2 years ago is that nearly 83% of African American teens play video games on a weekly basis, but only 2% work as video game developers full-time in the industry. So we figured out, how can we help solve this problem and get more students of color into this space that they're so passionate about? So our current value is that we are a multicultural media platform that creates a competitive and social ecosystem for minority youth in the esports and video game industry. And through our platforms, corporations are authentically able to support, sponsor, and advertise to millennial and Gen Z audiences. So our target customer to date is the HBCU community. Being an HBCU alum, I knew a lot of the early challenges when it came to resources technically and financially at the various campuses. So last year and leading up until 2020, there were over 200 predominantly white institutions that had esports programs, scholarships, or internships, and there was 0 HBCUs at the time. So my partner and I, who also attended North Carolina Central University, figured out, let's start building out these esports programs and clubs at our alma maters, which quickly grew to the esports league that we have to date. So some of our flagship partners include Twitch, which is a property that's owned by Amazon and is also the largest live streaming platform in the world. So essentially, through our partnership with Twitch, we get front page promotion on all of our 22 broadcasts. So each week on Sundays from 12 to 3 p.m., we average about 600,000 live viewers that actually tune into our live streams on the platform. And within our first 2 years, we were able to acquire Discover and Verizon as our corporate sponsors and media supporters. So our current business model is really divided into 3 different segments. We have our esports leagues, as I just mentioned, HBCU esports, but if you can imagine, there's also social and recreation. So if you've lived in Atlanta, you may be familiar with Atlanta Sport and Social, which had nearly 90,000 members across football, soccer, and also basketball. We're going to be building recreational and social leagues in addition to that. Production and corporate sponsorships. We were actually the outsourced group that Microsoft and Warner Brothers hired to run the entire multicultural campaign for the upcoming release of Space Jam 2. And then our last piece is esports name, image, and likeness for our student athletes that have large social followings, where we can connect our corporate sponsors to them to be representative and more so college ambassadors under this new NIL ruling from the NCAA. So just to reiterate, our current revenue model is broken up into really 4 different segments. We have corporate sponsors, we have media and advertising partners, we have multicultural production opportunities, as well as name, image, and likeness brand endorsements for the students that exist within that ecosystem. So now as we look at the holistic market of esports throughout the world, there are nearly 3 billion gamers across Earth, 55% average to be mobile gamers, and it continues to grow as mobile technology and connectivity spreads throughout the world. The global gaming audience is nearly 477 million people, and by the end of this year, the global gaming revenue is expected to reach $175 billion. So our deliberate growth from where we currently are over the next 12 months and up to 5 years is really to acquire the exclusive licenses for all 5 of the major HBCU athletic conferences to be the sole exclusive provider of their esports programming, which allows us to do more with the brand partners that we currently work with, and then also to expand our growth to universities and colleges overseas, because all of our productions are done here from Metro Atlanta, right across the street from Krog Street, here in the city. So to date, some of our key traction in the last year and a half, our total sponsorship has exceeded a little north of $1 million from the corporate sponsors that we've brought in. We've had over 15 million minutes worth of our content that's been consumed. And just last year alone, for season 1 of our league, we had over 14 million people tune into our broadcast. And we maxed out about 40,000 people concurrently watching our program at one of our best streams. So we've also had some pretty heavy lifts already completed. As I mentioned, year 1, we brought in 14 million viewers, but actually just last week, we were awarded the 2021 Esports Collegiate Partnership of the Year at the Esports Business Summit that was located in Las Vegas. So that was a huge milestone for us, really just being one of the new businesses in the industry with barely being within it for a year and a half. So our current ask right now is $1.5 million to be spread across these 4 segments, really to grow out our leagues, our production and corporate sponsorships, and to really build out our NIL opportunities, and then additional 500,000 more so for working capital. And I couldn't do this without my team. The first 3 of us are all HBCU alum. Julian is an alum of the United States Marine Corps. But no, we'd love to connect with more people that are interested to learn about gaming, esports, and digital platforms.
Okay, I have a question.
For sure.
I'm gonna go.
Okay.
Do you I need to, yeah, I'll use this. Okay. I don't know how to, I'll leave it on the table. Okay, esports is huge. What you're building is awesome.
Thank you.
And congrats on the traction so far.
Thank you.
Question on your, oh, that's better. Question on your leagues.
Yes.
How do you monetize the leagues? Do people pay to join? What is that amount? How much is your revenue from that, and is it recurring?
For sure. So currently to date, we actually don't charge students or institutions. We generate all of our revenue through corporate sponsorships and media advertising. So going back to our Twitch partnership, why that's so impactful is essentially we're locked in over multiple years. All of our broadcasts, if you go to twitch.tv, it is the first program that you will see. So from an advertising standpoint, we generate our revenue through that manner. So both Verizon and Discover have invested a little over 7 figures apiece to be a part of this initial program, because they're not only servicing and reaching the African American community, being the esports league itself, but now you're talking about twitch.tv, which has audiences all around the world that are consistently watching their programs.
So, I don't know if I'm on or not, but sponsorships aren't really revenue. So how are you gonna, at some point, get revenue? Sponsorships, I understand the multi-year, but it's still not really considered a revenue stream.
Well, and from this perspective of like esports, for us is actually one of our larger revenue streams, because for us, our hard costs are really just putting on weekly productions. So when a sponsor essentially comes on and our productions hypothetically have a hard fixed cost, the great majority of the sponsorship actually operate as our margin, but the great revenue on top of sponsorship is the media advertising that goes on top of our productions as well. So if you can imagine, while we have our commercial breaks, Verizon and Discover actually pay us to then run their advertisings via our Twitch channel to all of the viewers that are then consuming the content at that time. So in addition to that, the other revenue streams, as I mentioned, would be the NIL, the name, image, and likeness for student athletes. As an example of that, we just did a program on Monday with a student from Claflin University who we got paid $5,000 for his interview with Common. And then lastly is production partnerships. So when one-off groups come to us, like Warner Brothers, when we did their activation for Space Jam, Microsoft alike, we get brought in for those productions to kind of carry that weight on their behalf.
I would really focus on the real numbers of revenue and
Okay.
leave the sponsorships in sort of another bucket.
Okay.
Because they won't be ongoing forever. But how you're going to generate revenue, like through the advertising and stuff like that. Let
Absolutely.
that be more of a highlight.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So my question is more in the, kind of the technology side of it. What's to prevent, say, Comcast from coming in and doing a copycat with a much larger budget?
For sure.
Ability.
Left hand, okay. So one, as an example, Comcast is actually one of our largest partners. So what we found is that major corporations are not interested in creating their own leagues. They're more so interested to the point of generating revenue or providing the advertising dollars. So we haven't run into most issues, but then also the licensing. So that's one of the biggest preventative measures is just like traditional collegiate sports, licenses are already locked up. So the fact that we're able to work with these license holders, Learfield IMG, CLC, to acquire exclusive sub-licensing, that's the preventative measures. Just like you would have with a lot of traditional sports leagues, is really the licenses, not necessarily the funding of outside parties that could come in.
All right. The next that's coming up is something that I know a lot about. It's holiday decor, or lack thereof, in our community. I want to introduce to you Mirage from Edie.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Raj Ahmed, the founder and CEO of Edie. The holidays are coming up, and I know we're all so excited to be able to spend time with our family, eat amazing food, and watch the Polar Express for the 50th time. But most importantly, I know we're all looking forward to decorating. It seems like no matter how big or small, everyone does just a little bit of something to get into the holiday spirit. Being a Muslim, we have our own holidays, but you don't really see Muslims go above and beyond with decorating the outside or really the inside of their homes. A lot of times, Muslim holidays tend to go unnoticed because Muslims just don't have the means to decorate. With Christmas, no matter what aesthetic you're going for, there's something for you. If you're minimalistic, if you like the glitz and glam, or if you want your house to look like Santa Claus came and put it together, there's something for you. With Muslim decorations, there is products in the market, but the products are just cheaply made and extremely generic and won't last but a use or two. And the products that are there that are good are expensive. These lights on the bottom corner tend to retail for $60 to $70 and are only 3 feet long. And overall, all of the products center around this stereotypical Arabic style. The Muslim community is vast and diverse, stretching from all corners of the world, and the decor in the market just doesn't reflect that. That's why I created Edie, a one-stop decor shop for Muslims all around the world to be able to shop for products that represent their religion and themselves. Edie's offering products like outdoor inflatables so you can show off your style and your religion to your neighborhood. Do-it-yourself kits for people who are a little bit too busy to sift through products. You can just sit down, open up a box, and you have tableware, backdrops, lighting, and anything else you might need. And of course, your traditional goods, like stationery goods. That's greeting cards, gift bags, wrapping papers, and etc. Our plan on getting these amazing products into your home is pretty simple. We're going to be providing all of our products through a single online portal and through brick-and-mortar retailers. So that way, you have accessibility on all platforms. We're getting our products from multiple producers and vendors all across the world so we can ensure that you get the product and the quality that you deserve. The Muslim community is extremely large, with 1.8 billion Muslims in the world and 4.5 million in the US alone. And that 4.5 million spends about $170 billion each year. And with 10 Muslim holidays throughout the year, there's never not a reason to decorate. As far as our competition, there really is none. Our competition just doesn't offer the affordability, quality, or the originality that we do. And one of the biggest vendors in the market, Party City, is actually one of our distribution channels, as we'll be providing them with our products to sell in their stores. Our journey has been long but very rewarding. It all started with an idea. Me and my co-founder were going from neighborhood to neighborhood and looking at Christmas lights. And we realized Muslims just don't have the means for this. We don't see Muslims go above and beyond decorating the outside with intricate inflatables, lighting, or anything like that for our holidays. And we knew we had to change that. We applied to Main Street, and through Main Street, we've been able to establish ourselves as a company, validate our customer demand by talking to hundreds of customers all across the world, launched a landing page that got thousands of views on social media just within the first night, and we've been able to establish our manufacturers all across the world. Moving forward, we're beginning to import our goods so that we can prepare for our full e-commerce store launch in March. The amazing team that's guided us along this way has been me, Miraj Ahmed, the CEO and founder. I've been an artist my entire life, whether it was making sculptures out of mud when I was a child, to painting, throwing glitter everywhere, to now being a stage and interior designer. My co-founder, Fatma Ahmed, who is an industrial design student at Georgia Tech and a fashion and henna artist. And our digital designer, Zohaib Butt, who is a digital design student at the University of Drexel. Our team is so excited to launch our full e-commerce store in March of 2022. We can't wait to help Muslims all around the world make their special day feel a lot more special. Thank you so much, and we're so excited to help you make every day feel like Eid. Thank you.
So I love this, but I don't see your business model.
Okay, I'm so sorry. So we are e-commerce based, and we are producing and manufacturing the products, and we will be selling primarily through that.
Is it subscription based?
No, so it's a typical, just you come on the store, you come on the site, you see what you want, and you buy.
Okay.
But I hope that answers.
So on that, you said you have already sourced the materials.
Yes.
You have contracts. I mean, you have cost of goods.
Yes.
I didn't see any of that.
For example, one of, I guess, the simpler products, the cards, the greeting cards, those cost about 10 cents to $1 to produce. That includes shipping and all of that cost factored into it. And those would retail for about $1 to $4 to even some of them going up to 10.
Yeah, I'd like to see some of your margins and
Okay.
contracts on the which you already have because you haven't gone to market yet.
Okay. Anybody else?
Wiping never gets old. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. While the judge, the entrepreneurs are usually presenting for about 5 minutes, and then there's about 3-minute Q&A, and then we're trying to give the judges a little bit of a time to breathe in oxygen while they're tallying up the scores. And so there's that 2-minute sort of lag. And so while that 2-minute happening, we encourage you to, do some social media. You can use the hashtag stage starts or at ENIGSU. If you're dancing, you can do some TikTok. That's also okay. So. All right. So small businesses, as we all know, are the lifeline of our economy, and they're facing a tremendous challenge from big box or even the likes of Amazon. And so they're always trying to compete against these businesses, trying to get more business, but the cost is high. And so anytime an entrepreneur comes up to me and says that's what they're going after, I'm all in. So with that, I want to introduce to you Emily Wilson from Ecat Productions.
Did you know that 74% of consumers share video content and video receives 21% more interactions on social media than other content? Hi, I'm Emily and I'm the founder of Ecat Productions. Ecat Productions helps small businesses tell their stories through video. I started Ecat Productions when I was in middle school, creating soccer videos for my brother's soccer team and selling DVDs at the end of year banquet to the parents. And this business model was so successful, in fact, that I continued to do it for the high school marching band. And the high school marching band board, during my time there, created a social media, a website, and a YouTube, and filled it up with all sorts of video content to promote the band. And we noticed that in just a couple years, the band's recruitment actually doubled. And that's when I realized the importance of using video to market and grow your business. The problem is 92% of large corporations use social media, but only 77% of small businesses use social media. And that gap is largely financial. Small businesses just don't have the budget to be able to compete with these larger corporations. But Ecat is solving that. Ecat creates cost-effective video content for small businesses. The way we reduce the cost, well, we source college students and recent graduates to be our videographers and video editors from universities. And this not only is able to create job opportunities for those college students and recent graduates, but it also is able to offer rates to our clients that are 1/3 of the cost of other video production companies. And you might be wondering what kind of market potential a business like this has. Well, there are 31.7 million small businesses that exist in the United States right now, and 627,000 small businesses are created every single year. It's over 30 million businesses that need Ecat Production services to grow and sell their products. So here's some examples of a few of our different pricing models. These are all subscription based, and as you can see, we have a range of tiers depending on the size of the business and also support the business as they grow. With our tier 1 being startup, at $600 a month, they can get 2 2-minute videos, and also our social media platform or package, which is where we fit the 2-minute videos to every platform and every screen so they can use it on everything. We have the perfect team to support this. So our core team consists of Andrew Wilson, who was our business manager and is currently finishing up his degree at University of Tampa in business. And also myself, I am the founder and one of our first editors, and I got my bachelor's in film with a minor in entrepreneurship. And I'm also a certified video editor. And along with our core team, we also have our ever-growing roster of videographers and editors that grows as our client base grows. And speaking of growth, we've had a lot of it during Main Street. Before Main Street, we usually only had one client at a time. We had no online presence. Everything was just word of mouth. And I say we lightly because we had one staff member, and that was me. But during Main Street, we quadrupled our clients from having 1 at a time to having 4 to 5 at a time. We've had nonstop social media growth since January when we started the accounts, including over 50 new followers on Instagram and several Instagram videos that have received over 11,000 views. And also, we've hired new staff to support our growth. So our next steps are, 1, we're looking for strategic partnerships with marketing companies, and we're also looking to hire more video creators, specifically those college students and recent graduates. So next time you're scrolling through social media and you see a small business that needs some more video content, be sure to send them our way at any of these contacts. Thank you.
Judges, if you can please speak into the mic when you're asking the question so the rest of the audience.
Emily, good job. You're a born entrepreneur selling the soccer videos. That's awesome. You talk about small business. Can you be a little more specific? Talk about your average client a little more.
Yeah, so we've had clients who are like straight up startups, but then a lot of the people that we've had are more established businesses. They're still small, but they aren't like in that startup phase yet. And that's where most of our revenue comes from, while our startups are able to bring in more. And eventually those startups do grow and hop up to next tiers as well, yeah.
So on that same note, what is your product mix right now? You had 3 tiers, and then also length of time that you're seeing, and how long have you been doing that tier system?
So that's actually something we developed over Main Street. Before we were just completely project-based, but through customer discovery, we found that people actually would benefit more from having a subscription-based package because video content goes a longer way if you're putting out consistent content every month. So that's actually something new that we've created since we joined the program. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll word this a different way.
Okay.
What's your average length of contract? Is it month to month only? And then what's your mix of the 3? Like, what's your biggest bucket?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So our biggest bucket is the middle one, which is just the small business. And our length of our contracts, usually we've had a lot of single project-based ones, and those can take anywhere from a couple months to like 4 to 5 months, depending on the extent of the project. But then if they do sign up for that subscription, we would be able to create that content on a month-to-month basis. I hope that answers the question.
Hi, Emily. Do you currently have contracts under each of the 3 tiers, or is that just kind of that something you just developed?
Yeah, that's something we just developed. So right now, in terms of business size, we have startups and the business level. But in terms of the subscription-based one, that is something we did just develop. Yeah.
Nice job, Emily.
Thank you.
How do you find your videographers?
Yeah, so it's essentially, we market on social media saying that we're looking for people, and then a lot of it is just me going out and just contacting people. I was a film major at Georgia State, and I also went through the Georgia Film Academy program, so I already have a lot of contacts I can call. And I've just been calling people, setting up interviews, and if it sounds like something they're interested in, if they have a good reel, everything checks out, I add them to our roster. Yeah.
I have a suggestion. So in my opinion, I feel like you should your target market should be more social media companies. For example,
Okay.
we're working with one company and they're good at editing our photos, doing all the content. But then I noticed they outsource somebody to make the videos for us.
Yeah.
So maybe we should target those companies.
And that's where our strategic partnership with the marketing companies, that's where that was coming from. Because I've noticed that a lot of the small businesses that talk to us, they need direction. And so I would love to refer them to marketing companies and then have those companies then come back to, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. All right.
All right. Our next group of entrepreneurs are tackling payments and remittance all the way across the other side of the world from Ethiopia. Please welcome to the stage the founders of Ethiopia, Mike Gizacha and Daniel Hadgu.
Good afternoon, judges, members of Main Street Entrepreneurs, and friends and family. My name is Michael Gizacho, and along with my co-founder, Daniel Hagdu, I am proud to present EthioPay, a centralized global payment platform. EthioPay was conceptualized when my co-founder and I experienced our own challenges when remitting money to loved ones in Ethiopia. For Daniel, it was the long lines he and his mother often waited in, and it was especially difficult for his mother, who suffered from a bad knee. For me, sending money to my cousin as frequently as every 2 weeks meant I was spending more money on transfer fees than I was spending on my own cell phone bill. And our recipients do not have it easy either. With vehicle ownership at just 1%, many rely on public transportation to pick up cash from a money agent. And some of our loved ones rely on others to pick it up for them due to physical limitations. And lastly, the concern for safety when picking up large sums of cash is always a concern when sending money to our loved ones. There has to be a better way. And Daniel and I have created one. EthioPay is the solution to the same problem millions of people deal with every day. With the power of financial technology, we are able to execute transactions without the use of money agents, eliminating high commission fees, allowing us to pass on the savings to our users. Our bill pay feature is the first of its kind marketed to immigrants like me. By having the ability to pay the bills of our loved ones, we're able to still help them as if we had never left. And this is investing. Now, this is what I'm really excited about. We've partnered with DriveWealth, currently the leader in mobile trading. And yes, they outperform Robinhood by a long shot, and we're their only partners in East Africa. We're able to give people who have never had a cup of Starbucks the ability to own a piece of the company. So why now? What makes this the perfect time for us to get in the game? Well, people are sending billions of dollars to Ethiopia as we speak, and most are dealing with the same challenges and inconveniences that me and my co-founder deal with. The mobile money market was just established last year and is already set to be worth nearly $10 billion in the next 4 years. And the government of Ethiopia wants to leverage its own citizens in developing this mobile money market, so it's prohibited companies like Western Union from launching its own service. Now, as you can see, no single competitor offers all of the services that we offer. We are the only platform to offer bill pay as a form of remittance. Western Union cannot compete with our lower fees. Robinhood does not offer its investing services in Africa, and no other remittance provider is able to incorporate mobile money as a service. Now, that creates a unique trifecta, allowing EthioPay to be first to access an unsaturated market while generating meaningful revenue. Now, in total, the mobile money market in Africa is worth $495 billion, and the Ethiopian remittance market is worth $5 billion, creating a total addressable market of $500 billion. Thanks to the widespread adoption of mobile money technology in Kenya, East Africa has the largest share of the mobile money market, currently at $273 billion. And we have set an initial target to acquire 10% of remittances sent to Ethiopia, along with acquiring a 30% market share of mobile money in Ethiopia over the next 4 years, and we make money from transaction and commission fees. Now, we understand that none of this is possible without a community of people to empower through our platform. By leveraging our already existing relationship with community leaders, we're able to reach out to representatives in our churches, community centers, and event organizers to reach our target audience. From there, we're able to move into the digital space and partner with online influencers, along with working with community groups across the country. Now, as you can see, we have 3 goals in our immediate horizon. In order to facilitate instant funding, which means having money deposited into your bank account in seconds, we're partnering with TabaPay. Version 2 of our app will incorporate features like Touch ID and Face ID for even more security. And lastly, none of this would be possible if we aren't licensed to do business across the country. Now, winning today will allow us to complete all of the milestones you see here and begin raising our seed round. Our seed round will allow us to complete stage 2, and once we raise our Series A, we are able to introduce EthioPay in other markets, along with expanding on new services we plan to offer. Our core team consists of 3 co-founders with experience ranging from finance to business management and payment systems, and along with the guidance of our advisors, we're prepared to take on challenges on our journey. Thank you all for allowing me to share EthioPay and our mission to connect people around the world.
Congrats, that was really good. Hey, Daniel.
Pleasure.
So my question is, I know it seems like you all are doing a lot, entering the market with 4 different types of opportunities, the mobile market, and then now investing in some other things. Have you found that a challenge so far? Because that seems a bit much for your first entree into this market.
Thank you for that question. So we're building an ecosystem of sorts, and really the products that we added onto our platform have been through surveys that we sent to our customer base. We know that we don't want to dilute our efforts, and so right now the 2 lines of business that we're heavily focused on is investing as well as the bill pay component.
Okay. And then how many customers, or do you have any customers on the platform at all right now?
Thank you for that question. So in terms of tractions, we have 3,000 people on our wait list, and we already got 31 partnerships in Ethiopia to utilize our platform.
Okay, this is the last question, sorry.
Sure.
And probably the most important one. Clearing U.S. regulatory, and then, of course, Ethiopia having its own sort of regulatory. How are you all going to be able to combat that?
Thank you for that question. So that's what keeps us up at night. In terms of the regulatory hurdles, we are partnering up with Atlantic Capital Bank here in the States to allow us to utilize their money transferring license and make sure that we're compliant with SOC 2, AML, and KYC. And in terms of Ethiopia, we're trying to partner up already over there with some banks to utilize and acquire the mobile money license.
So on that, I mean, you're anticipating utilizing Atlantic Capital?
That's correct.
But you cannot use their SOC 2 level 2 for yourself because it's just a separate platform. Are you building everything on-prem? I mean, how do you plan on that's not an easy task. That's kind of what I'm getting at. What's your plan to do level 2 for yourself?
Yeah, sure. Michael, you want to take a swing at this one?
So yes, as you said, we do have to build out our own SOC 2, which we're currently working with other fintech providers to be able to utilize. But as far as FBO accounts and licenses that allow us to transfer money around the country domestically, that's where our partnership with Atlantic Capital Bank comes into play.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
If no one asks more questions, I'll ask one. So, something I always want to ask entrepreneurs from building large platforms myself, I always ask, what's your moat from a technology stack perspective Because, you know, easy copy, easy go to market. You're small, and there's a lot of big players out there that would probably jump a lot quicker than you guys.
Sure. Thank you for that question. So I would say our economic moat would not be on the technological stance because it's just innovation and all we're doing is repackaging it and bring it into a new market. However, it's the capabilities that any other foreign mobile operator is allowed to come to the country. We are nationals and we are already registered in the country. And to the point that Michael said, Western Union and all these other bigger operators are not allowed to come into the market. And so it gives us that competitive advantage to at least take a lead and not be left. Great, thank you so much.
I'd like to encourage everybody to come and shake my hand at the end of this show because it's the cleanest hands you'll ever find. All right. Well, climate change, carbonization, decarbonization, those are all the big terms of this century. And we know that's where the next big crisis may be coming from. So our next presenter is exactly tackling a small part of that. I want to welcome you to welcome Yazdan Navabhi, founder and CEO of Food Upcycles, to the stage.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yazdan, and I'm the founder of Food Upcycles. We are on the mission to reduce global warming by turning this waste into this solution. Now, I want to tell you guys a little story, a little narrative, and then I'm going to jump into how our business fits in with that story. Most of you, if not all, have been to a vegan restaurant or a juice bar in the city. These places are usually positive, healthy, and forward-oriented. Speaking of positive, I want you to meet Sally. She owns a juice bar in Atlanta. She loves that she can help people be healthier and help her community. She drives a Prius, she cares about sustainability, and she buys local. These are very important to her. However, throughout the day, all the waste her business generates gets thrown away. She knows the value of the food waste, but she has no accessible option to recycle them. Everything is thrown away, day after day. In the United States, more than half of our trash is actually organic food matter, which is reusable, but none of it's really getting used. It's all getting sent to a landfill where it rots in the worst way possible. I want to visualize this supply chain real quick. We got the farms on this side where the food is grown, and the shops on this side where some of the food is consumed. Once the good parts of the food are used, the food is then hauled away around the corner outside those doors to a landfill where it will never come back and cause damage for generations to come. Landfills are so catastrophic that I'm only going to spend another 30 seconds talking about them because I don't want to ruin everybody's day. In a very basic nutshell, they're toxic to us, to the environment. They spread leachate, spread disease, and they're a top 5 contributor to global warming. It gets worse. Oops, sorry. If we could remove all the organic matter from these piles and compost them instead, we would eliminate 90% of the greenhouse gases they release. I'll say that again. Pound for pound, composting generates 90% less greenhouse gases, which cause global warming, than landfilling. On top of that, compost actually captures and stores carbon. It cleans our waterways and our groundwater. It reduces the need for synthetic chemicals, and it reduces the amount of water farmers need to grow their crops. But most importantly, it's a sustainable model. Composting is like recycling 2.0, and that's what we do. We're a composting company. Now, you guys have all heard of recycling, right? That's when you try to reprocess partial amounts of a waste. But has anyone heard of upcycling? Upcycling is when you reuse an object to create something of a higher value than the original. That's your word for the day. All right, now that you guys are filled in, let's get back to our business and what we do. Starting from the upper left corner, our customers toss their waste in a dedicated bin. We come, pick up the bin, and leave them a clean one for them to keep using. At which point, we then haul the waste away to our landfill site, where we let nature do its thing for 2 to 4 months. Once the compost is mature, as you see in this picture, we then supply it to the farmers and growers. As you can see, our customers are the heroes that fill the gap in this broken circle. Sorry. Let's talk potential. Worldwide, compost is a $9.2 billion industry. Georgia alone generates 1.7 million pounds of food waste every year. If we look at Greater Atlanta alone, the establishments that we want to target comprise a $26 million market. And our very ambitious but very achievable goal is to service 150 businesses after our first year. Our food waste collection service caters to 3 customer profiles. These are the base prices for each. Here you see a visual of the market sizes in Greater Atlanta. At the very top, you see vegan restaurants and juice bars. That's our go-to market, mainly because of the feedback we've received from the business owners, but also because it's the cheapest and easiest to infiltrate. So we want 30% of that market. We also want 13% of the retailer market and 1% of the commercial market. All of this together comprises $26 million only in Atlanta. We are looking for partnerships with individuals in the policy sector, as well as nonprofits, landowners, truck owners, and restaurateurs. We need $200,000 to raise our pilot, and that money will be used for acquiring machinery, equipment, personnel, processing site, and some working trucks. I really appreciate everyone's attention. All our social media handles are the same. Please kindly note that our email ends in .org, not .com. Contact us with any questions. We love talking compost. Thank you.
Talk about how many services a month you think an average restaurant would have in Atlanta?
That varies widely. So that's a very good question. For smaller businesses, it would be anywhere between 1 to 3 times a week. Once we get to our grocers, some of them will need pickups every day or like every 2 days.
So is there any revenue off selling the end product, the soil, to the farms, or are you just giving that away?
Yes. That is further down the road once we can scale. In the beginning, we're going to try to be giving it away for free as an incentive for partnering with us. Further down the road, once you have more money and we can scale, we will be selling it. So we'll be getting income from both ends, for the waste collection and for the finished compost product. Thank you.
So I love this. I'm very passionate about composting. I lived in NorCal for many years, and it was really more of a regulatory problem than a social kind of business problem, right? Here in Georgia, I'm from Georgia, no one's incentivized. My brother's the actual executive chef for the Falcons. We have 5 restaurants. There's no incentive to use food waste in any other way than to dump it, because you get charged from the city for a trash fee. And so to me, the way in is finding a way from the regulatory side to promote a discount to separate the waste, because that's what they do in NorCal, and it's something that in different markets that it doesn't exist. But I love the idea though.
Thank you, and that's why we want to partner with people in the policy sector and nonprofits to kind of help push the laws in our favor. But we are also incentivizing business owners by diverting their food waste with us, instead of sending it to a landfill, they decrease their landfilling costs, what they have to pay to the trash companies. And so we're trying to basically tap into that. Let's say they cut it in half and we can have. And I know we had a question here.
You kind of like when people recycle carton, you palletize it and then the company comes and buys it from the company. Maybe you change the model and buy the waste from them, but then you're gonna have to sell it to the end user. So
there are companies now doing this in Atlanta. Most notably is Compost Now. Last year they received $200 million in funding. They're a Raleigh-based company and they expanded to Atlanta. So there is a market for this. It's very marketable and people are doing it. And they're processing, they're getting paid over $100 a month by businesses. Some who already have to pay for trash service as a part of their contract. They're still getting paid and making a profit out of it. Any more questions? Do we still have more time?
12 seconds.
Make it fast, make it fast. All right, thank you so much, guys.
That's good.
Appreciate it.
Right side, right side, right side.
How's everybody doing so far? We're almost there. We're almost there. Serena, you enjoying this? Okay. Okay. All right. We're almost there, people. Almost there. So in this world of COVID, we've gone to, online collaboration, Zoom, Zoom meetings and all of that, and then file sharing from every different kind of platform, from Teams to SharePoint to Google Drives. And then what we do is we take all those links of those documents and put them in some Excel file that we call Excel hell. And so this next company is tackling that problem, and would love to see how they do it. Now I want to introduce you on stage to you, founder, CEO, Abdi Ali of Tickler.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, MK. My name is Abdi Ali, co-founder and CEO of Tickler, and we're on a mission to simplify information management in organizations. All right, so got that out of the way. So we're gonna have an icebreaker real quick. Active participation needed. I want everyone to raise their hands, for example, if they've ever created a spreadsheet to manage and document key information related to their business. All right, so good turnout. All right, what about creating using your personal calendar to track dates and reminders related to business activities? All right. And then lastly, creating a folder directory to manage all your important business files. All right. So those are all forms of information management, but that is at a personal level. Let's take a step back and think about this at an organizational level when there are different teams and departments and interdependencies between them. So today, I want you guys to envision yourselves starting at a new company. You got a new job, you're excited about it, and it's in this organization. It could be a public company, it could be a private, it could be governmental. Take your pick. Your career path, any department: business, legal operations, business operations, accounting, finance. I'm an accountant profession myself, so if you guys go with an accountant, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Now, in your organization, they already have an enterprise management system. Like MK said, maybe a SharePoint, maybe a Google Suite, maybe a Dropbox. It has all the bells and whistles, sharing, collaboration, document management. However, when you start your new job, you inherit a bunch of spreadsheets similar to this. endless rows and columns of information, reminders, notes, comments, and so on and so forth. Now, you're going to be managing all of it. So eventually you ask for where the files and documents, where this information has pretty much been sourced from. So you get a file directory that's shared with you. Pretty clunky, pretty cluttered, disorganized. You're already second guessing the job on your first day. That was my reality back in 2018, starting at a Fortune 500 company as a staff accountant. Now, what is wrong with this picture that we've just painted? It's a very manual form of information management. We're relying on SharePoint and repositories, Excel, spreadsheets, email threads with attachments, and going back and forth maybe over Slack. It leads to a lot of confusion sometimes, and things can slip through the cracks. We've actually experienced that with a lot of the organizations we've talked to over the past year. For example, we were talking to the Georgia State University IT department in their contracting space. They actually have SharePoint. They actually have Salesforce. But instead, they reverted back to the status quo, which is using Excel spreadsheets. Now, why is that? We searched long and hard, and we came to the simple and powerful conclusion. The most effective teams have the simplest solutions, all right? And that is why we created Tickler. Tickler is an information management software that democratizes information across all teams and all internal stakeholders, and not just one person or one persona. How do we do that? Well, teams in effect can create their own database in terms of the information that's important to them, but also their other internal stakeholders as well. From there, they can create their own workflows in terms of how information should be structured and how it should be organized. Following that, it's going to result in a method where they have a single source of truth, they can run robust reporting, they can have automated notifications and tracking, as well as the ability to dig into the minutiae of the data, and then collaborate and communicate on it as well. When building Tickler, we emphasized heavily the user experience. That's what sets us apart. That is our North Star. With the user experience, we can ensure that our users will never revert back to the status quo, despite having a very powerful tool. Now, our go-to-market strategy, we are a SaaS subscription-based model. We can attack anyone and everyone in all organizations, but currently we're focusing on public institutions. It's where we've gained traction. In terms of our traction over the past year, or the past 10 months, we have been able to iterate and release our first version of our product, as well as join Main Street, get some funding, and onboard our first 4 customers, which includes the GSU IT contracting department right now. The team behind the dream, that includes me, as well as my 3 co-founders and our brilliant advisor. We have all felt information management struggles in our professional lives, and we're here to solve that problem. We know we have the solution, and today we're asking for you guys to be a part of the process and the journey with us. We're asking for $200 to accelerate our product roadmap, to enhance our features and our security, as well as go the extra mile to become the best product in the market when it comes to information management. Thank you.
Okay, a few questions here. So, this is a very popular problem. I can have the agreement that I have the pain point myself in a lot of different companies, but you do have a lot of competitors in this. I mean, you've got Atlassian, right? I mean, there's stuff out there that does the same exact thing. So what is, again, I'm asking the same question I asked before, what is your technological, moat?
So, and that is correct. Thanks, Joshua, for the question. For us, it was more about the user experience. All the technologies that are out there, they either fall into 2 buckets. One, there are specialized tools that work for specific departments, like a contract management tool for a legal department. Doesn't really translate over to maybe an accounting or operations team. And the other, there are more of the legacy play, which have been around for decades, and they're pretty clunky in term and implementation costs and so on and so forth. So for us, it's more about user personification and making this a tool that can be a single source of truth for the entire organization and not just a specific team-oriented tool.
So I'm going to call you out on that one. So Confluence, right? Tied into about every system out there, from Slack to Microsoft, whatever it is. That's, I would say, not clunky and definitely a decent UX experience. On the UX side, what have you done from a UX research side that sets you apart? I mean, you keep talking about your UX, so tell me about your research.
We did a lot of market interviews. We really wanted to get to the root of the problem in terms of why people go back to the status quo, which is manual efforts as opposed to having these tools in place. We are avid, entrepreneurs ourselves in terms of the SaaS space. I work for a SaaS company as well myself. So in terms of just evaluating the market and just really being a student of understanding what makes users tick in terms of navigate away from the solutions that they use, or more so staying with the solutions that garner mass adoption across all teams. So for us, the pain point was, why do certain teams use a tool more so than others? And then once we were able to peel that back, we came to the realization that when a tool is specialized for a specific department, for example, going back to Confluence, which is more so used by maybe product teams, then it may not be garner the interest of, let's say, an accounting team or an operations team as well. So for us, it was to simplify it so that it could garner the interest of all teams involved.
I just want to add, I don't have a question. I just want to add on to that. If there are others in the market who are doing something very similar to you, and I know you're still early in that sort of stuff, but start telling us the differentiators. I think that's, excuse me, I think that's incredibly important to that.
That is true. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I know you're working with the GSU IT team. Who else are your target customers? If you could give your dream list of like top 3, who would be the ideal?
Business, so our user personas would probably be in business operations or back office teams who typically don't get a lot of the products built for them in that sense when it comes to information management. Our play would probably be enterprise, 50 to 500 employees in the manufacturing. And did you mean by industry, by the way, or just by?
Like company size.
50 to 500 in terms of company size, and really all verticals we can attack. Yeah. Yep.
I thought when you said brilliant advisor, my picture was going to be there. But it's not.
Love you already.
Right?
I told you there was going to be desserts. All right, we're almost there.
We'll just eat this.
Almost.
You don't even have to present.
That's right. That's right. I told her that would be the best thing. This is great. We're almost there. TBOI. This is the best one yet. The best one yet is coming up. All right. Without further ado, we all love desserts. I love desserts. I've tasted some of them myself. And I want to introduce to you Victoria Blunt, founder and CEO of Cheesecake Specialist.
Hi, my name is Victoria Blunt, and I am the founder and CEO of the Cheesecake Specialist. Now, many of you probably enjoy sweets. Maybe you might even say that you have a huge sweet tooth. If I asked you how often you eat sweets, some of you might say pretty often. maybe once a week, maybe multiple times a week. For many of us, though, we usually eat desserts on a special occasion, like a family gathering, during a holiday, or a birthday party. Now imagine if you ate the same dessert over and over again for every single special occasion. The same cake, the same cheesecake, the same pie, whatever you like. That would get pretty boring after a while, right? Maybe you wouldn't even look forward to the day as much. My customer Laura was planning a party for her 65th birthday, but everything seemed to be going wrong. Her adult daughters who lived with her didn't want to clean up the house. They had bought, in her words, cheap plates and cheap forks and cheap supplies for the party, and she just wasn't happy about it. Now for dessert, she knew that she wanted to do a cheesecake. She knew that she didn't want a typical sheet cake from Publix or Kroger. She knew, if nothing else, she wanted the dessert to wow people. After fulfilling dozens of orders since Laura, it's clear that many people want more variety in their desserts, especially their cheesecakes. And they also appreciate specialty and premium products that are not mass-produced. There's effort put into each individual order. And they like convenience. They want to be able to order online and get it delivered. Now, the Cheesecake Specialist offers flavors for every mood and occasion, such as my signature honey lavender, which I presented to you all, and others like pumpkin spice, banana pudding, German chocolate, and more. And we offer these cheesecakes to individual customers and organizations. Now back to Laura. For her birthday party, we decided to do a 10-inch honey lavender cheesecake. Now, when she came to pick up the cake, before she saw it, she was visibly stressed. She had been running errands all day, trying to pick up more supplies for her party, and just trying to make sure everything was gonna go well. When she saw the cheesecake, she started crying. She was so relieved, the stress just left her. She knew that everything was gonna be all right and her party was gonna turn out great. Now for Laura, I did a 10-inch, but I also offer minis at $45 a dozen and 10 inches at $75 a cheesecake, but discounts are applied for bulk orders. And this is how I impact the community as well. This was an order I did for the Atlanta Children's Shelter, actually my largest order. It was a Valentine's Day treat for the staff and the families there. I've been baking since I was a child, but my love of cheesecake started in 2017 when I was helping my aunt with her monthly family dinners. Each month we would try different cheesecake flavors, and the reception from the 30+ guests was always positive. And this was my first test market. As an entrepreneur, along with being a baker, I'm also an entrepreneur. And I've tapped into several resources at Georgia State to help me along that journey, including these. With Main Street, I've completed 2 major milestones. I have launched my website, and I've completed some customer discovery with college students to identify if that would be a viable market for me. Now, additional and the feedback from that was that cheesecakes are one of their favorite desserts, but additional customer discoveries needed to know why they don't eat it as often and if my products would be a good fit for them. Looking to the future, my major next step is looking to get into a commercial kitchen. Now, this is important because cheesecakes do not fall under cottage food laws, and they need to be made in a licensed commercial kitchen. Thank you so much. I invite everybody to stop by my table to try some of my minis.
Thanks for the presentation, Victoria. So what is your ultimate goal in doing with your company? Is it to create bakery shops? Is it to, just order on demand, that sort of stuff? What is your ultimate goal?
My ultimate goal with my company would be to grow mainly online and maybe have kind of like flagship shops here and there, maybe in like tourist areas. But yes, that's my goal, to grow through e-commerce and incorporate integrate third-party delivery services with it, and also long-term ship cheesecakes nationally.
Victoria, this is amazing, by the way, my favorite.
Thank you.
Where are you currently baking these at, and do you deliver? If so, is there an additional charge for that?
Yeah. Currently, I'm doing it out of my home. This is why I'm looking for a kitchen space. And I do deliver, yes. There is an additional charge, but it's pretty nominal. Yeah.
Great product. I definitely would buy this. Talk about your margins on the $45 and $75, and talk about shipping. You've got a spoilable product here. How do you avoid that?
So my margins on the regular 10 inches, it's about around 80%. And my margins on the minis, because the 10 inches cost about $17 to make on average, and they, sell for $75. And then my margins on the minis are also about 70%. They cost about $6 to make per dozen, and they're $45. As far as shipping the cheesecakes actually, compared to a lot of other desserts, keep very well. You can freeze them. Sorry. Now, that's not my preferred way of doing things, because I like them to be very fresh, but they do freeze well, and you would just ship them using maybe dry ice or some type of product specifically to keep things cold over long distances. And yeah, that's how you would ship them.
So this is more kind of an advice for the pitch. So there are other companies not in cheesecakes that have done very well. Look at Crumble, for example. They've kind of blown up, social media, all that fun stuff. I see my daughter on TikTok with them all the time. So it is, I will say, compare, to your question of where you see yourself growing, but also the margins. I would also look at your commercial kitchen cost, because I can tell you from experience that's going to change your game a lot with scale. So have those numbers readily available, because you're going to need to show those.
Yes, thank you for that advice.
And in terms of the kitchen, because there are so many folks who are sort of, and I don't know what the terminology is called, like you don't have to go out and buy a kitchen now. You can actually rent the space for a period of time. So I would look in that to kind of keep your costs down.
Yes, I have looked into that. They're called shared kitchens, ghost kitchens, cloud kitchens, different names for them. Yep. And I have been looking into that.
Okay.
Oh. I just love what you're doing. I love the mini cupcakes, because everybody loves a mini and nobody wants to eat the whole thing, just little tastes. Is there anybody else doing this with cheesecake? Because I've seen it in cupcakes, but not with cheesecake.
Not a lot of people are doing mini cheesecakes. Typically when people do single serve options, they're doing slices and not like these actual, circular things that look like regular cheesecakes. There is somebody doing here in Atlanta who's doing minis, but they're actually smaller. They're even more bite size. So they have that size, and then they have like a personal pan size as well. So yeah, thank you so much for the questions.
All right, that's it for this first half. Let's take a break. Let's go and catch some air. Let's look at some of the companies out there. Let's go and mingle and network a little bit. And let's be back here at 3 p.m. so we can listen to 6 more amazing stories.
So y'all just moved back to Atlanta?
All right, here we go. I think for a minute, you ready? I think for a minute I felt like I was on American Idol back there tallying those scores. That was awesome. Please give a round of applause to all of the founders pitching. I'm a pitching founder myself, and it is not easy to get up here. So kudos to everyone who is going through this. All right, here's the second round. Judges are down. Everyone is in. All right, here we go. Tremaine Perry. Southwest Atlanta has suffered from lack of services in community groups. They offer premium coffee and wine, best-in-class service, and an aim to provide a culture experience for the community through art, music, spoken word, and much, much more. Buzz Coffee and Wine House, I introduce to you Tremaine Perry.
Good afternoon, everyone. So if I can't top Victoria, at least I can compliment her with coffee. So I'm glad to be here this afternoon and represent Buzz Coffee and Wine House. Again, my name is Tremaine Perry, and my business was formed from my desire to have in my own neighborhood in Southwest Atlanta a place where I can go and have a good cup of coffee or a glass of wine versus driving to East Atlanta, West Midtown, downtown for any services that I needed. Instead of begging for investors, which I know we're working here to get folks to invest in our businesses, I chose to do it myself and launch the business in hopes that people will come. But hope really isn't a business strategy. It's really hard work and diligence, and why I chose to go into the Main Street Entrepreneurial Seed Fund. So Buzz is the only independent coffee house in Southwest Atlanta. We're located at 2315 Cascade Road. It was designed as a social gathering spot for busy professionals and the residents of Southwest Atlanta. As Jameen said, beyond good coffee and wine, we want to have a cultural experience there. We have a fine arts program that we're exhibiting local artists. We do wine tastings. We've had someone come in from Charleston to do demonstrations on some sweetgrass, basket weaving, just a plethora of different experiences that are being offered at the shop. We try to utilize at least 50% of local vendors and artists and continue to support the local economy in Southwest Atlanta. As I mentioned, Buzz is located at 2315 Cascade Road. You'll hear me repeat that multiple times during this presentation. We're servicing the neighboring neighborhoods of Beecher Hills, Adams Park, West End, Westview, and Audubon Forest. The population is over 107,000 with an 8% 5-year CAGR. The median age is 33 and mean household income of 43,000. The demographics are changing quickly. I've lived in this neighborhood for 16 years. It's becoming younger and wealthier, and folks really want to have a place where they can walk to, walkable neighborhoods, little shops and coffee houses where they can have unique experiences. Art, culture, community is our tagline. Again, beyond providing the coffee and services, having many events, different types of activities, and this is one of the revenue streams that we have through the special events. Book signings, sip and paint that are all monetized. We do have some free activities as well, just to drive foot traffic through the business. But again, it is beyond the products and services and really providing unique experiences for the client base. Delivering those experiences are my team. Right now we have 2 folks. Liz is the assistant manager and Amir the team lead. Amir is a student here at Georgia State. I'm obviously the owner, and I just hired a 3rd individual to come in and help through the fall period, which is usually a busy time for us. And it's resonating. We have several reviews in Google right now. We have 191 reviews and a 4.9 review rating, as compared to Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, which bookend us. Starbucks is 3 miles to the west of us, and Dunkin' Donuts is 3 miles to the east of us. Both of them have a 4.1 rating and a 3.8 rating. So I'm very, very proud of what we're doing and delivering on the promise of what our mission is. Just to highlight one of the comments here, I was here for an event. It was a very nice atmosphere, and the staff was knowledgeable about the wines. That was a plus. I got wine and a history lesson. So it's more than just the coffee. It's more than just the wine. It really is about the experience when you walk through the door. So the revenue model is really, the retail sales of food, coffee, and wine and whatnot. We also have the special events that I mentioned, which is a revenue source. Merchandising, each of you got a coffee mug in front of you. So selling the travel mugs, the tumblers, the coffee beans, and special events and the rentals are also part of the revenue model. Obviously, there's lots of opportunity in those other smaller categories. And then our progress so far is really to we opened with no marketing strategy. We existed off of word of mouth, and we've been operational through the pandemic, and still continue to grow at about a 20% clip. I just looked at numbers recently. In the fall of this year, we're approaching 30 to 40% at this point in a revenue perspective.
Thanks a lot for the presentation. So you look pretty niche now, but you're talking about growth. So what is sort of your growth plan and your expansion strategy?
So the growth plan is, we definitely want to continue to scale where we are now. May of this year was our first full 12 months of operation. Prior to that, we opened in April of 2019, so we shut down because of the pandemic before we hit our 12-month mark. Reopened 2 months later, and so we had from May of 2020 to May of 21 our first full year. So to continue to scale and then also look at licensing and franchising going forward, we want to stay in underserved areas like Southwest Atlanta. So where there are spaces that don't have an independent coffee shop or don't have services in general, that's where we want to be, because we want to keep that economic power in those neighborhoods.
So more of a suggestion, since you've only been open for under 2 years, month-to-month growth instead of annualized growth.
Sure.
And as well, what are you looking for from a raise perspective, and where do you utilizing that at? I mean, I heard you say you want to franchise, but kind of be more precise in what you need and what you plan on doing.
Sure. I didn't get to. I was thrown off by the timer, but. So yes, franchising is definitely one of the things that we want to look at. The business is a little cyclical as well. So during the summer months, there's a little lull because people don't want hot drinks. So we do try and offer as much as we can. We have ice cream and other things that we're offering. And then we get a pickup in the fall months. So we do look at those numbers on a month-to-month basis and try to track the seasonality that's there. But specifically, looking at franchising and potentially opening up another location as well. There are things that we want to do, such as looking at the wine vending machines that we can upscale with the wine, so we can keep our inventory low, but keep the wine fresh. And there are several vendors that provide that. We'd like to scale with that, and then also get into roasting because it will help us with our profit margins. I don't know if I answered your question.
You did.
Yep. Any other questions?
What's your goal for your revenue?
So I would like to, that was also in my presentation that I didn't get to. I would like to double revenue within the next 2 years. So right now we're at about 139,000 year to date September, trending towards 150 to 155 for this year. So hitting 300,000 in the next couple of years is definitely our revenue target. All right, thank you.
Tremaine and I are still fighting over a painting in Buzz Coffee. I really think I'd win that one, so we'll see. Get it. I'm gonna go get it tomorrow. All right, very good. Marcus Harrington is the CEO and founder of EduSophic Curriculum and Development Solutions. We know that the classroom was hit with COVID and just keeping in pace with the needs of the students. He has an innovative approach to the classroom. I present to you Marcus Harrington.
So I'm noticing these aren't my slides here. We'll get it right. Okay. All right, so good afternoon. My name is Marcus Harrington, and I am the founder of EduSophic Curriculum Development and Solutions. So EduSophic is a curriculum company that leverages technology to design innovative STEM curriculum. It is also a vehicle to generate and circulate intrinsic value within local communities. Speaking of local, that's me right there. I am a local product of the Cobb County Schools, Stone Mountain born and raised. So EduSophic was created in a sense of where I wanted to address Stone Mountain in terms of the past 20 years being in a decline. So with that being said, EduSophic is a curriculum company that will be able to address these needs. So you saw me as a youngster, and you see me now as an educator. Here are all the places that I have been to over the years, teaching and learning, College Park, Alpharetta, and DeKalb. But even in that, as far as my teaching goes, I've taught a lot, but I've also learned a lot from my students as well. So we know COVID-19 is the elephant in the room. We have reports of kids going back into schools in terms of being disengaged, being disinterested, having high levels of anxiety. But even more so, there being this disconnect between students and what they're learning in schools and the generation and circulation of value within their local communities. So this makes this ripe for educational improvements. Let's go ahead and redefine the classroom. So we want to implement virtual reality as an optimal tool for promoting the digital classroom. In essence, we want to customize interactive curriculum. We want our students to be creators of knowledge as opposed to consumers of knowledge. And we want a less distractive environment. Now, let's take a look at this stat here. It says that 93% of teachers say that students will be excited to use virtual reality, and 83% say that virtual reality might help improve learning outcomes. So we see here that education is ripe for VR. So as far as my research, I have given surveys to my students in terms of asking them about meditation and mindfulness, whether that would be a good part to incorporate with virtual reality. I've leveraged robotics and coding and the use of technology. The kids love that. In terms of standards-based learning, trying to find these spaces to put VR in, because we know in school districts, we have little wiggle room for that. And in terms of classroom traditions, looking at what teachers do and using that as a segment to implement VR to enhance teachers' learning ability. Moving on. So we know that our cash cow is school districts, followed by charter schools, private schools, after-school programs, and summer programs. However, our barriers to entry in terms of school districts, once again, we know that schools are standardized, meaning that there's little wiggle room for the creativity of VR to come in. So we may not be able to deal with school districts in that way. What we provide a VR setup which is a one-time $25,000 per school fee. We offer $2,500 teacher subscriptions with a max of 25 students per class. We offer curriculum. We offer professional development, ongoing support, and access to a research exchange database. In addition, through the Main Street program, I've been able to develop partnerships with Georgia Tech. So I work at Fernbank Science Center, and now I am moving forward with Georgia Tech to implement VR curriculum. Our next steps for our market launch is the summer of 22. So our ideal client avatar will be 2 school district contracts, 20 middle schools per district, at again that $25,000 per school fee. And then $2,500 per teacher with roughly 40 teachers for a projected revenue of $4 to $5 million per year. So I leave you with this empty classroom, which represents a dormant phase, with a phase of having potential for VR to not only engage students, but for also to be an agent of change in our community. And that is what EduSophic is striving for at this time now. Thank you.
So, excuse me, we all understand what VR is, virtual reality. What is it in this sense? And then when you say you're doing a VR setup, what does that mean? What does all of that include?
Okay, so VR setup, we'll be using the Oculus. So in terms of that, we'll have to kind of configure it, go through and build up the curriculum for it, and then have to do whatever we do to kind of get it on the display. In terms of the $2,500 you see, well, that was with the subscriptions, the PD, ongoing support, and then a resource exchange.
Okay, so are these, do they keep the VR headsets, or is it something that you're lending into them for a school semester?
Right. So the idea is within that $25,000 fee, you're also getting a set of VRs at a certain school. So we would like to set up what you would call a VR lab per se. So it would be one place. It would be kind of some open area for kids, tables or whatever, but they would be able to kind of do what they needed to do in that area.
To piggyback on Shila's question, can you talk me through a lesson that you would do with VR? Like, what could I learn? Talk your teacher, give me the VR lesson.
Okay, so just to talk about circulation of value, especially in the Stone Mountain area. Okay, so we can look at Stone Mountain in the past 20 years. We've looked at its economic decline. We can look at Stone Mountain and look at how value has been extracted from it in terms of Stone Mountain Park. You know, other entities own Stone Mountain Park, but then you look at a local city called Shermantown, which is right around the corner, which economically is, you know, in despair. And we ask the question, well, why is that value from Stone Mountain making millions of dollars a year not generated into that town, which is adjacent to the mountain? So this would be kind of the content, if you will, for a lesson. Other questions? All right, thank you.
Something about the quiet time makes me want to rap or something. I won't do it. I can't. I'm trying to raise money next year. I can't do it. Okay. All righty. All right, couple more minutes, couple seconds. It's amazing at this moment how you forget how to add numbers together when you're doing this. I know. It's like, wait a minute, 4 is 3, 2, 5, 6. All righty, I think we're there. All right. All right, here we go. All right, Regis Marshall, Karaoke Noir. Have you ever gone to a karaoke and just maybe didn't find the song that you were looking for? She has an innovative way of redefining what karaoke is to all of us. How many of you have ever hung out after 3 a.m. in the morning? Everybody hands goes up. Regis Marshall.
Good afternoon. My name is Regis Marshall, and I am the founder and CEO of Karaoke Noir. As Jameen just mentioned, I don't know how many of you love karaoke, but I love to sing. And, you know, I keep going out, and I can't find my song. For example, it was my birthday, right? Big party. And the DJ didn't have my song, so I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And if you're from Atlanta, you already know Ain't Gonna Let Up is a party stopper. But here I go with my phone, trying to look at the lyrics because they didn't have the lyrics on the TV screen. So we were just stuck. And so as a professional shower singer, a DJ, and an avid karaoke user, I became increasingly frustrated with the lack of Black music on current karaoke platforms. These platforms simply weren't made for us, and they grossly overlook our artists and our music. I found myself having to go to YouTube to hopefully find a song that suited my needs. This led to the creation of Karaoke Noir, an AI-powered karaoke app that features music created, produced, and inspired by the Black diaspora. Our karaoke app will have a diversified music library, enhance karaoke user experience, and we plan to vertically integrate the entire karaoke market by becoming not only the producers but the distributors of karaoke music for individual and commercial consumption. Our market is simply the culture, and at the heart of that culture is Black music. When we drill down just to the American market alone, the total addressable market is $300 billion, which represents the Black consumer market valuation. In the US, $1.1 billion is spent at karaoke bars. We hope that we can get 5% of that market for a serviceable market of $55 million. Our competitors Singa and Carafun offer an app for virtual experiences at home. However, they don't have the songs that we're looking for. When we analyzed Carafun's over 52,000 song catalog, we found 42 unique genres. And I bet you can't guess how many were related to Black music. Only 6. That represented 7.7% of their entire catalog. So why Karaoke Noir? What's our advantage? Well, we have an AI song recommendation. So if you never know what to sing, our AI-powered app can provide that solution for you without you even having to think about it. We have enhanced interactive experiences like party mode and choir mode and DJ mode to make the party jump and never get boring. We also, again, plan to vertically integrate the market. So that becomes the producers, the distributors of karaoke music, but we also plan to have branded karaoke merchandise and eventually open up our own chain, franchisable chain of Karaoke Noir bars. But this is the secret sauce. It's our team. I'm a DJ. I love karaoke, and I sing really good, or maybe not so good in the shower. Our VP of Legal and Licensing, Devin, well, he's not just an attorney, but he's also an artist himself. And our tech guru, Paul, well, he's just a hip-hop historian who can tell you anything about 90s hip-hop. We're uniquely positioned to solve this problem because we are our market and we are the culture. We have a business model that's B2C and B2B. Our B2C model will represent an individual subscription plan that you can purchase for yourself at home. Or our B2B model is for DJs or karaoke jockeys to have a commercial product that has enhanced features like singer push notifications, digital tips, and a loyalty program. Our market is simply us, right? So whether you are a rich auntie and you want to sing Ari Lennox and belt out some Shea Butter Baby, whether you're the Johnson family who really wants some gospel and intergenerational family fun, or you're DJ Dev and you're tired of always having to tell your clients no when they ask for their jam, Karaoke Noir is for you. When we started Main Street, we were just frustrated users. Right? We didn't have a product, we just had an idea. And since Main Street, we've been able to establish our business entity. We've been able to receive legal advice to help us tackle the karaoke market. And we've also invested into marketing branding because I couldn't even find stock images with Black people enjoying karaoke. Most importantly, we conducted customer discovery and we learned a ton about what our users want in a karaoke product. So what's next? We plan to continue to build out our music catalog with independent artists. We plan to continue to have a comprehensive marketing strategy, and then we want to launch our app prototype. This is our culture, this is our music, and this can now be our karaoke. Thank you.
So I want to say your pitch was awesome. I will give you great kudos for everything that you had in your deck. I really appreciate you. You answered a lot of questions just in your deck. The thing that I'm concerned about is your market sizing. I will go back and look at that. I think that market is bigger than you think. That's the part that you're attempting to capture.
Absolutely. I think so. The hard part with karaoke is not an American-based market, and so there's not a lot of market research out there, and I think our product is really capturing a lot of white space where there's no product that currently exists.
Gotcha. But good job.
Thank you.
Y'all second that. I mean, it's a really strong presentation. I love karaoke, so this is really cool. My question, I'm going to pick on you on the use of the term AI. So is this built?
No, so when we started again, we just had an idea. So this is our goals and how we plan to address the gap in this market. So right now, if you got on Carafun, you had to know what song you have. So we want to be the Spotify of karaoke, where we can recommend to our users based on their previous singing history.
So my recommendation on that would be to actually talk about how you're going to use AI. That's just a really buzzwordy thing to put in a deck.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Okay, well, hopefully y'all will meet us out there at 4:30 because we have a demonstration of our karaoke app. Thank you.
Every time I would go and coach her, I always wanted to dunk on her for some reason. I don't know. Karaoke Noir. Good job, Shyla. All right. All right, there we go. Okay. Next up, we have Alyssa Russell, another spin on virtual reality. Jobs are available, yet companies struggle to fill open positions. Because of the skills required for these the positions do not match those that are underemployed. I present to you, Ready Consulting, Alyssa Russell.
So they're not smart enough to move up or to do anything else. In fact, they like these jobs. I'm here to tell you this is a myth. Quick story. She is the mother of 6, she is a wife, and she is a high school graduate. She works full time. She's a maid and a nanny for a couple, both of whom are doctors. But after 15 years, their children are out of the home and they decide they don't need her services. However, they decide, perhaps with some training, maybe she could work in one of their offices. Well, in 2 years, she's managing both of their practices. In 5 years, she's medical tech certified. In 10 years, she owns a stake in their neurology clinic. And today, she's an entrepreneur, managing her own medical billing consultancy. I would like you all to meet Betty. Betty is my mother. She is truly exceptional, but what I can tell you is that her situation is not unique, and that is why I created Ready. Ready is a for-profit, tech-enabled workforce readiness platform. What we do is help companies fill open positions by upskilling and reskilling entry-level workers. Did you know that here in Georgia, 88% of our jobs require a high school diploma or a GED? That we have 800,000 jobs that go unfilled because people don't have basic literacy skills, such as being able to speak English well enough to move from housekeeping to the front desk, or they don't know how to do a job interview. We spend over $1 billion on subsidies, food, housing, and health to help support these individuals in our communities. And why? Simply because there's a skills mismatch between those available to work and the job opportunities available. But what if there were a right fit partner to reskill these individuals? Well, at Ready, we found that solution, and it is in virtual reality training. Virtual reality offers an immersive learning experience. It speaks to the needs of adult learners, many of whom have been out of school for several years. What it does is create an experience in which people experience real-life work situations. Virtual reality allows us to create employees that companies want to recruit and want to retain. There's tons of research out there that demonstrate users of VR for training and development perform better in the workplace. At Ready, we've already had some experience in this space. We've already completed 2 government contracts. Right now, our target market is government contracting because here in Georgia, we have a labor market of over 5 million. We have 200,000 people receiving unemployment benefits and another 200,000 who don't qualify. So there's ample opportunity for us to train and to scale our business. More importantly, Georgia, a recipient of Workforce Innovation Act funding, sends back $60 million worth of funds annually because we don't have enough training programs available. So Ready intends to go after this market. And our revenue model is quite simple. It's subscription. Our users will be renting the headsets from us as well as gaining access to the digital content. And that content ranges from basic literacies like reading or language skills to workforce readiness, which could be interview skills, to some technical training as well. Of course, we are not the only ones in this space. Our biggest competitor is the nonprofit segment. Having worked in nonprofit for 3 years, what I can tell you is that they are not equipped to do this work at scale. In terms of technical colleges and Department of Labor, these, between the pricing and the limitations of what zip code do you live in, these provide barriers that our users cannot overcome. As such, Ready differentiates itself by offering VR at the expense of the employer. So to date, we've earned just under $20,000 in revenue as well as grant funding. With the infusion of funds from Main Street, we hired our first part-time administrator who was able to submit 5 RFPs for next year for workforce training with the government. We also purchased 3 VR headsets, and we started using freeware to kind of test some of the content that's already available, and we applied for our Women-Owned Small Business certification. With funding from today's event, we intend to purchase 10 more VR headsets so that we can pilot our first completely VR-enabled class in early 2022. My name is Alyssa Russell. I am founder and CEO of Ready, and I am ready to close the skills gap by upskilling and reskilling. Thank you.
Hi, really cool. Where does your content come from?
My content, so we're not recreating the wheel. Largely, I'm using content that exists for adult education and adult education material. And especially for certifications, it's standard. SafeServe, this material exists, we're just turning it into digital content.
So you're doing the transfer from
What would be a book? Yes.
To VR?
Yes.
And what's your cost for doing that?
Oh, so we have not created any content on our own yet. We have one of our advisors is out of India, so they have already created content for construction safety. So we're partnering where we can use their content because it's in English and it's exactly the same. It is OSHA training. So right now we have not created any of our own.
You've not created your own. So how have you tested this out as an actual product that's going to work?
So there's lots of freeware out there. So we just use whatever freeware content. There's lots of freeware for hospitality, for customer service. And I worked in nonprofit for about 3 years. So with those organizations, I'm able to go in, I do some of their workforce training, and part of those sessions that I hold, we'll use this type of digital training. And then do surveys to get feedback.
So have you tested it out at all? Have you had like
any paid classes with VR? No, we've only used with Department of Watershed Management. That was a traditional class using Zoom, as well as with WorkSource to Cab.
So not with the VR?
No,
yet.
No.
So I want to piggyback on her question. Have you done any type of UX research for the unemployed side with people that are looking for jobs? Would they utilize this? Would they,
In terms of the user or in terms of the customer? The user is actually the employee, so they don't pay for it. The customer is the company.
Yeah, the user.
So with the user, no, because typically these users cannot afford this. They couldn't afford to even take a class that's VR enabled versus speaking with the employer who does have a budget for training and development. And this is how we do training and development. The way our system would work is the employer would pay maybe $1,500 a month. They get 25 headsets, and then they could choose one or however many types of programming they would like. And the programming is $250 for whatever they have access to, and they have access for the month.
But if you're trying to go after the unemployed through the government agencies, they're going to have to give these to the person that's unemployed, correct?
No, it would be at a WorkSource location, the same as the computer systems that are set up there, and individuals would go to that location, use it. They would not take it home. At this point, that would probably cost a lot. They probably would bring it back. And in terms of RFPs, you can suggest exactly how you're going to do the training. They are open to whatever you're going to use, and ours would be this.
Alyssa, it's awesome to see you again. Sorry, I'm over here. The other side. I love what you're doing with this. I love your presentation. I love your mom. I've never met her. I love her. When do you hear back on the RFPs, and how is that process going?
So it's hit and miss because every time there's a change with the pandemic, then government contract has been canceled. The one we had last year was with the Cat WorkSource. It was supposed to be for 12 months. We ended up doing 2 months, but it's because of access from the end user. They didn't have internet. So this year, now that we're kind of waking up our economy, we submitted for 5, and that's the most I've seen available. And we look forward to actually launching one in January. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Okay, while the judges are tallying, I'm going to give these lyrics. I want you to tell me who it is. Okay, you ready? You always was committed, a poor single mother on welfare. Tell me how you did it. There's no way I could pay you back, but the plan is to show you that I understand. Tupac, yep, got it. That was fun. Dear Mama, yes. If only we could give $22,000 away for that. It'd be kind of cool. All right, one more. And this is our duo founder, so we have 2 founders that will be pitching on this last one. Again, this is my last introduction. Thank you to all of you for just staying to the end. I know it gets cumbersome, but thank you for your attentiveness and just being present in the room. It goes a long way. Thank you. All right, last one. You know, I didn't know that I was a menstruator. I didn't know I was called a menstruator until I started coaching this crew here. Not only are they incredibly fashionable, articulate, but they have a spin on a solution that'll help with the pain during menstruation. I introduce to you Elle McCrae and Jessica Trebedy.
Thank you. Hello. Oh, this is not our slide. No? Okay, there we go. I can do it. Okay. Hi.
Hi. Am I speaking loud enough? Okay. Hi, my name is Elle, and this is Jessica, and we're the co-founders of Onyx. So question, who in here knows what it's like to catch a cramp when you're exercising or when you're playing a sport? Or who in here actually has felt the pain of childbirth? Now, I can't relate to that one, but show of hands, everybody this time, last question, I promise. Who knows what it's like to be in the same room with someone that's just painful to be around? And if you're sitting next to them right now, you don't have to raise your hand. You can just keep looking straight ahead. And it's okay because we feel your pain, and so does every other menstruator in the world. But I know what you're thinking. What's a menstruator? We use the term menstruator because not every woman menstruates, and not every menstruator identifies as a woman.
Out of 10 menstruators in this room, 9 of them, including myself, experience period pain. But we wouldn't necessarily know that because there's a lot of taboos and stigmas associated with menstruation, often leaving menstruators suffering in silence, feeling uncomfortable asking for the solutions that they need and that they deserve. Periods are mentally, emotionally, physically, and sometimes financially draining. And we know this because we've spoken to a lot of menstruators, often telling us that they would just deal with the pain or have to take off from school or work because the pain is so unbearable. And that is why we built Onyx. Because productivity shouldn't be a luxury, but unfortunately, we can't press the pause button on life when that time of the month rolls around. Onyx is giving the support menstruators need to thrive confidently and comfortably throughout their period.
We're here to tell you that you don't have to deal with the pain because you don't. And this is what brought Jessica and I together. We came to the realization that just suffering through the pain shouldn't be an option, and actually having support should be. So we'd like to introduce you to our product line, starting with our relief stick. So it relieves pain at the source once it's inserted, and CBD is the active relief ingredient. The whole process takes up to 45 seconds, and once removing the product, you can continue your day in comfort. And we know not everyone menstruates the same, and all periods are not created equal. So for those who aren't so comfortable with insertion, we have our multi-disc. It's also infused with CBD and has an opening in the middle so that tampon and menstrual cup users can benefit from the same product alongside the ones that are already comfortable with using. So why CBD? Each of our bodies naturally create endocannabinoids. And the endocannabinoid system is within the human body. So the CBD in our products is a welcome addition to the body's endocannabinoid system. The endocannabinoid system coordinates pain relief and also manages inflammation. We currently use drugs to synthesize this, but the overconsumption of painkillers during menstruation is a major problem. And the anonymous accounts on the screen illustrate why a natural alternative is not only necessary, but it's long overdue.
So how many trillion-dollar industries do you know? Okay, now hold that thought. There are currently over 800 million menstruators in the world, and of those, North America being one of the largest. Now, 40% of menstruators have actually skipped out on school or work because the pain is so unbearable. And we found through our own customer discovery survey that over 55% of menstruators are open to using CBD as a natural alternative. Now, our product line encompasses so many market opportunities, such as the CBD market that is projected to reach $20 billion by 2024, and the menstrual market that is projected to reach $66 million by 2027. And do you remember when I said $1 trillion? Okay, let's bring that back. The femtech market is projected to reach $1.3 trillion by the year of 2025. And this is where we come in. We're a direct-to-consumer with a customization subscription that syncs to your cycle. And we have market accessibilities in place that we'd be happy to talk about during the Q&A.
So Onyx is for all menstruators, and we are different from what's currently on the market because of our extensive level of inclusivity. We know this because since joining Main Street, we've conducted over 50 customer discovery interviews and even landed a meeting with our industry's #1 competitor. Taking what we've learned from these accounts, we've since completely redesigned and rebuilt our prototypes. We've recruited an advisory board and are now set to launch in fall 2022.
We're here to ask for $500,000 to hire out our R&D team to patent our products so we can finalize and secure our supply chains and conduct clinical trials. Onyx is the opportunity. It's the opportunity to set a new standard. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So I applaud you for taking on this sort of massive problem for women and then standing in front of a room and being able to speak about it so uniquely. So applaud you for that.
Thank you.
When you say femtech, where is the tech in the product?
Yes, so the tech in the product,
the tech in the company, Onyx. Where is the technology, I guess?
Yes, so femtech encompasses all women's health, so that does range from engineered products, that's what we are. We are going to, the cramp relief stick and the multi-disc is an engineered product because we are formulating CBD into a non-woven material. So we're taking like a liquid with a hard material.
So since this is an MP, have you guys done any, patent research or, intellectual property research on this? Because I'm sure it's not, you're not the only ones out there.
So we have done some research in that space. We met with our industry's top competitor, who is like the person who is doing CBD with menstruation like at the highest level. And since that meeting, we knew that we might be infringing on a little bit of patent, so that's why we redesigned our prototypes and are going to patent the new products that we actually do release.
And I'm going to ask you a really dumb question. Is there any type of medical license that you have to have for this type of thing? Because, I mean, it is, I want to be crude, I mean, there's an insertion product.
The insertion, right.
And going into blood system, so.
Yeah. So through the FDA, we have to be 510K cleared because of the insertion and to make sure that it is comparable to what's already on the market. And that could take up to 120 days on average for that.
And you have not done that?
No. We're still in heavy research and development prototyping phase.
Okay.
Any more questions?
I'm hosting a fintech lunch. Do you guys want to come?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Not even a question.
Are there any other questions?
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for your time.
All right, I lied. I'm sorry. We have one more video presentation, and I'll intro it. We have one more founder to pitch. And I'm not a really good beggar, so don't make me beg. Stay around a little bit for the very, very, very end when we announce the winner. We've got one more segment to go, and then we're going to get out of here. Again, thank you for hanging out. All right. All right, meet and innovate. Unfortunately, this founder, due to some personal decisions, will not be here today to pitch, so I will introduce him, and his presentation will be on video. We will be scoring the pitch.
That specifically focuses
There is a lack of Black, Latina, Indigenous, and other representations in the U.S. technology company space. Meet and Innovate is a diverse database that allows tech companies to intentionally seek out diverse, qualified, and experienced candidates that are seeking employment in the tech space. Ladies and gentlemen, Meet and Innovate.
connecting diverse professionals. And we believe that we're the best way for diverse professionals to connect and find career opportunities. And we define diverse professionals as Black, Indigenous, and other people of color. So we refer to that as BIPOC. And going forward, we're really passionate about the problem that exists in the space, right? There is no effective central location specifically for diverse professionals to connect, right? And that's where the founding team comes in, and our passion is directly here, simply because this affects us. We want to find a central location for us to connect, find career opportunities, and network, right? And that's when we realize that there's a situation, right? There's new ways to access diverse professionals, and they're more prevalent than ever, right? Professional networking, LinkedIn, job boards, you have Jobwell, right? You have Canvas, and these platforms right here, Jobwell and Canvas, specifically focus on diverse talent. But however, diverse professionals benefit from being in one central location, as well as companies having access to them, right? So sourcing through thousands of profiles, that doesn't work, right? Going to multiple platforms of vendors, that doesn't work. And guessing gender or ethnicity based off their name doesn't work, right? So having to network on LinkedIn as a diverse professional and then having to go to Jobwell or Canvas, that doesn't seem efficient when you could just be in one central location. So what our solution is a social networking platform specifically for diverse professionals, right? Here's the magical product that we're building. It's going to be a social network that gives diverse professionals an ample amount to expose themselves and what they can do in terms of skills and building the network. We allow you to create a profile that allows you to self-identify and post your skills, as well as, apply to jobs, right? The companies that are committed to DEI are coming up to our platform and allowing you to apply to them and to work in, an equitable company, right? You can find mentors. We want to stop pipeline disparity, and associates connecting with mentors allows us to get closer to eradicating pipeline disparity, right? And you can network with other diverse professionals. It's amazing to see other professionals that are in the same space as you and understand what it means to thrive, as well as companies can have access to source directly from our talent pool, as well as post their jobs on our platform and gain access into our entire community. And what we've achieved thus far in terms of growth has been amazing, right? Since we came into Main Street Entrepreneur Seed Fund, we actually have done $60K in revenue. We started with 3,500, and we only had 15K in the door before we got to this point. But just in this period of time, we have brought on 8 companies that we're working for. We've seen month-to-month growth. And actually in the last 4 months, we've done on average $10,000. And the question is why now? right? The current unrest in our nation has manifested the diverse professional networking megatrend. We see our competitors, we see Canvas, we see Junko, we see Jopwell, we see all these guys, but the major difference between us and them is that we're creating a social networking platform for diverse professionals. So we ask the question, what are you gonna do after you apply and get the job, right? What are you gonna do, right, if you don't get the job? Our platform doesn't let our users turn stagnant. We wanna focus on their experience on the platform, networking, building community, finding mentors, as well as finding their dream career, right? So getting into the operations, how we scale this up and how we grow and get to those next steps is these 4 key areas. Strategic partners, right? These strategic partnerships that filter diverse professionals onto our platform are with code academies, they're with senior management forums, they're with boot camps and organizations that specifically focus on housing diverse professionals, specifically going into the higher education and the e-learning space. And these organizations give us direct access to the talent and allow them to put us directly onto our platform. We scale up and we grow up from there. And we're partnering with companies that are committed to DEI, and then networking, mentorships, programs. All of this helps us push this engine forward. And then we charge for job postings as well as having access to our Meet and Innovate Sourcer tool that allows companies to source directly from our platform. And here's our team. We're built for this. My CTO and co-founder has a technical background, software engineer 2 currently at Microsoft. Joshua Henry is one of our advisors who works on the strategy and ops side. He understands what it means to grow out a business and what it means to scale. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're passionate about this space, and we believe social networking is a solution to pipeline disparity.
Awesome. And not only give him a round of applause, but also all the founders that participated today. Can we just stand on our feet? I don't know, just the whole COVID thing. Like, can we just stand on our feet and just show appreciation to everyone that put this together? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for your participation. To the viewers, to the people watching in, everybody that plugged in, to the team, Jennifer, the whole E&I crew. Thank you, thank you. All right. $22,000. Man, that's a lot of money.
Good afternoon, and
I wish I could get that in my pocket.
I'm
but I'm not pitching. I'm just here supporting the people who will be winning today. A decision will be made. I told you it feels like American Idol. When we were tallying those scores, it was going up and down, and MK and I were like little kids back there hitting each other just out of pure excitement of what was happening. So there will be a winner. There will be other winners. We have other things we're going to give away. But there is that one winner that is going to be the winner of this cohort. So very excited to see what these scores look like. And because of that time that we need to pull all that together, we are going to release you for about 30, 40 minutes to go hang out in the showcase area, network. You see a founder you wanted to talk to, go grab them, slap their fist bump them, encourage them to keep going. This would be the time to do that, okay? All right. All right, you're free to go. Thank you so much.